Hey guys, today I'm going to be filming a simple tutorial on how to make a Lynx mask. This is my first time making one. I have an idea of what I'm going to do, but if this fails, sorry. And I will just post this as a fail video. But, yeah, so first you're going to cut off the ears like I did. And then you're going to cut out a small piece of cardboard and bend it like this. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is, you're gonna grab your thing, like this, and you're going to put it on the mask like this, and see where it cuts off on each side, and do shape like this. Okay, and then you're going to cut two little slits, and then you're going to fold these and put these like so. One second, let me do a little bit of that off camera. Okay, so I did a little trimming to these sides and then to here since it's a lynx, so it's not gonna have as long as a snout as a canine. And then now you're gonna do two little cuts on this part. And you're gonna fold this. You can either fold it on top or under, but I'm gonna do under. And then you kind of just fold these over each other. So let me glue that real quick. And yeah, you're gonna glue it like that. I'm gonna have the part that I was just talking about under, like this, because I don't know, I want it to be under. That's how I've done a couple of my masks and I like how it turned out, so I'm gonna do it like that. So then you're gonna have this. And here's what it looks like on the mask. Okay. So let me glue that on. So, okay, now what we're gonna do is I'm going to glue this on here. So I'm gonna kind of go in these little crevices here, and then on the bridge of the nose and here, because that's where this is gonna go. Even if you have to stretch it out a little bit, it should be fine in the end. Just waiting for the dry and holding it down. I'm over here, so it's like kind of hard to film this. I might have to flip it or something. Or you can just watch it from me being sideways. There you go, there's that. I just hold it for a little bit longer to make sure that it's fully dry when I let go of it. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab some thinner pieces and like kind of fill the bridge to make it like more blended, because yeah. So I'm gonna grab just some random cardboard. And I'm gonna make it so that like I'm gonna make an hourglass shape-ish. Just kind of avoid the eyes. Oh, speaking of eyes, I forgot to cut out the eyes. I'm gonna do that real quick. Yeah. Okay, I finished that step. So basically what you do is you just grab two pieces of cardboard that are like about the size of the eyes. And you draw the shape that you want. This is if you want the eyes to be smaller than the eyes that are already cut. And then you cut out the shape, and then you just glue it to the back. And then now I'm gonna finally do those pieces. So I'm gonna cut out an hourglass shape because this one is too thin. A kind of sort of hourglass shape. Sorry, I'm filming this New Year's Day, so my voice is kind of dead from last night. So yeah. Okay, that's better. And now I'm going to peel off this. Some cardboards peel better than the others. This one peels really good. So I'm either going to use this part or this part. It depends on how it looks and how sturdy it is. I think I'm going to use this part. The part that's thicker. Not this. This is like paper thin. So yeah, let me glue that on. Oh, I just glued on my finger. Luckily, it legit does not hurt anymore. So, just chilling. So yeah, you're gonna glue all over that. And you're gonna kind of do part of it on the snout, and then part of it on the forehead. And there will be some gaps here, but we will fill that eventually. So now I'm going to grab this piece, the thinner piece, and I'm going to use that to fill these gaps right here, like so. But first let me cut this. And make sure that that fits. Okay, now I'm gonna bend it a little bit like this. Kind of just have to bend everything to get it to go the way you want it to. Put some glue on there. And glue it down. Make sure it's glued to both this part and the mask. It's fine if there's like a tiny gap like that, because that will just be covered by felt and it won't really matter, but the big gap will. And then you just kind of do the same on this side. Okay, and now you will see that there's this big thing here because I used the thicker side of the cardboard. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to peel the back off of a random piece of cardboard like I did with this one, and use that to blend it like I did with these. So. Okay, and now you have that. And then I'm gonna, this is a lot of blending that I'm doing. I'm just doing it for extra since I'm gonna try to make this mask kind of realistic. Then I'm gonna do some blending here using the same method, just tearing off the backs from some cardboard, because this cardboard's actually, it does really good with that type of stuff, so. out. Look at that. I kind of don't want to felt it. Oh, and then also you gotta fill in the bald spots. Let me do that real quick. Okay, so to do the forehead, you just kind of cut these 2 square pieces. This one's a lot bigger. That doesn't really matter, as long as it fits in here. And you're gonna bend them. And then you can just do this and this. Make sure all these pieces get pressed down, like, so that they're actually touching the mask. That way it'll not look clumpy. And then you're gonna do the same with the other one. Nice and round. And there's your mask base. Oh, cardboard pieces everywhere. Okay, so there is your mask base. And then I will show you how to felt it. Okay, so now you're gonna grab a piece of felt. And then I just recommend stretching it out, especially for snouted things. Stretching it out. Oh, let me take off the sticker. There's a sticker here. Why would they even put a sticker on felt? Like, that's just a disaster waiting to happen. Because then it, like, tears up the felt. And then you're like, come on. Like, look at that. This is so painful. Oh, okay, anyways, now that that's over with, you stretch out the felt, especially with snouted masks. You stretch it out both ways, horizontally and vertically. Hamburger and hot dog. And then you're going to stretch it over the mask to basically measure everything. And give me like 2 seconds. I'm gonna add some stuff to the base, because now I see that it looks a little too sharp, so give me a second. Okay, so what I did was I just added some thin foam on the corners that were looking sharp under the felt, so that it looks nice and blended. And then now I will lay the felt on again to see what it looks like. And that looks much better, and I like it like that. So now I'm going to lift up this felt partially and put glue around all of this. And this part is going to be the part where you have to pay a lot of attention. I push all this extra felt to the center right here, where you get this little flap. I'm just checking to make sure I have enough room on the edges, yeah. And you're gonna get this little flap. Now with that flap, you're going to cut it almost all the way down to the base, but not all the way, because you want to be able to fold this over. Then I'm just gonna cut this a little bit more. And this tip part doesn't really matter that much because I will be adding the nose, so it doesn't really matter to me because I'm gonna have something over it. But this bottom part really does matter, so you're gonna put glue along this, and you're just gonna glue it down as nicely as you can. There we go. And then now, to do the rest of the felting job, grab another glue stick. I'm going through these like really quickly. You're going to go around the eyes because you want to make sure that the felt is glued closely around the eyes. So do that, and then just do a little bit in areas that you think might need the felt to be like really tightly on, especially around like this. Then you're going to glue it down and stretch out the fabric to make sure that there's no wrinkles in it where it's actually on the mask. And any like bumps like this that look like that will be painted, so it won't look as bad as it does now. And yeah, do that. And then you can also go on the back and behind the eyes you can do some gluing to make sure that the eyes are just like really on there, because you're going to cut around that, so you want to make sure that that's going to be good. So now I'm going to cut out the eyes. I'm just going to cut a little strip through it and then glue that down. If I were to be doing bigger eyes, then I would cut little flaps on them, but these are so small that I don't think that's really necessary. So I'm just going to cut strips. And then for here, you're going to cut around here and make sure that you have some room. Okay. And now you're going to cut little slits around the whole thing. Then you're gonna glue a bunch of these edges. Make sure you glue the edges and not the actual mask itself. Because if you glue the mask itself, then you might not glue in the right place, and then the flaps won't reach, and then it'll be a disaster. So I just recommend gluing the flaps themselves. Then you can check on the outside, and that is what it should look something like this. And then for the eyes, you can put glue on the felt part of that as well, and just push that in and fold it in. I would fold it over more, but like it's so, the little strips are so small that it doesn't even fold over completely. And then that's what this eye looks like on the outside. And then you're going to do the same for the other one. Oh, and if you were doing a cut eye, then you would have made one of the eyes smaller when you cut it, and yeah, because then you could draw a slash through it and it would look like a scarred eye. And then here is it with the eyes. Looking good so far. Very, very good looking so far. It's a handsome cat. Okay. And then what I would do is I would paint. I'm gonna paint most of this and then add the fur on the edges and then add the ears, which is also gonna be fair, and I'll tell you how to do that. But let me just do the paint job real quick. Okay, so I thought I would like give a little update in between the paint when I'm painting. So I basically used this color, painted around some of the areas, used the gray, blended where I wanted the darker areas. I will come back with another paint update. Okay, so I have another paint update. I added white to the snout and the eyebrow part. And then I'm gonna start adding some more details. Paint job update, I added the black parts and then I started adding the dots. Okay, so I have finished all of the spots and stuff, and now I'm going to add the fur. So yes. Okay, so I added the ears and fur. I made sure to glue the fur down very close to the mask, and then I'm just gonna paint some of the fur. Okay, so I finished up the final touches, added the fur, painted the fur, and everything. And that is it. It's done. Bye!